Welcome to Yankee Chronicle. I'm your host, Elizabeth DeRazio. This is the final week of the show presented by HR Clough and Kearsarge Heating. Their highly trained and helpful and friendly staff can assist you throughout the buying and installation process with their full-service energy products. When it comes to home comfort, HR Clough is your area specialists. Today we're back here as Blaine Davis brings us up to speed on HR Clough's mission, services, and products. Amy Drummon and Tanya Frost will join us with a wrap-up on this year's duck drop. Gail Matthews, a lung cancer survivor, introduces us to November being Lung Cancer Awareness Month. And I'll close the show with Fred Nystrom, our host from the location here at the Contoocook Railway Museum, as we hear about the history of this rail car. Don't go away, because this week you don't want to miss a single episode of Yankee Chronicle.
At HR Clough and Kearsarge Heating, we sell, install, tune, and repair heating and cooling systems and deliver your fuel oil and propane. But we're much more. With more frequent major weather events, don't say again, I should have installed a generator. HR Clough provides the best home generator systems available from Generac. Our highly trained personnel provide you a complete turnkey installation. For a free estimate, call the HR Clough Company today. Over 4 generations of local ownership and dependable service.
There's a big difference between a big box store and a LaValle Middleton building supply.
When you're a local store, you need to compete with the bigger chains. So we've combined our purchasing power with over 300 independent lumberyard and home centers, and we've passed those savings on to you.
Our customers have grown up with our stores, and now their kids are shopping here with our kids.
We have everything you need for any home improvement project you can think of.
And the possibilities are endless.
If we had a motto, it would be neighbors helping neighbors build a community.
Simple solutions in a challenging world. Let Echo Communications make your life simpler. From the beginning, creating design through the commercial print process and ending with custom mailing, all easily coordinated in one place. Echo Communications provides simple solutions in a challenging world. One place, many solutions. Learn more at echocominc.com.
Welcome back to Yankee Chronicle. I'm your host, Elizabeth DeRazio. Our host and longtime supporter of YCN is HR Clough. They are committed to our community. Remember, when you buy from a local business, you assure that activities and institutions that they support continue to be around, like us. And as long as they are, Blaine tells us HR Clough's here for us. And now Blaine from HR Clough.
Theory here has always been complete home service for everything that we install. We can also sell the new system, come back and do the service on it, and we do training to ensure our technicians are certified to work on all the things that, not only the things that we install, but other makes and models out in the field. In addition to that, on our property in Contoocook, 76 Pine Street in Contoocook, we have 24-hour gas and diesel pumps for automotive fuels. We also have a propane refill station for your small grill-sized tanks, or maybe for your RV or boat, as well as construction heat for contractors. In addition to that, we also have automatic, touch-free, and self-serve car wash bays. We also have a self-serve pet wash. Those services are kind of on-site where the customers come to us, whereas the heating and air conditioning side, we are more apt to go out to the customer's locations. So with that service, we also offer the fuel that you would need to burn in those heating systems, fuel oil or propane, full delivery of those products as well. And we can always come out and make a site assessment and see what your particular application might require. And to back all of this up, we have 24/7, 365 emergency service with technicians on call. When you call in to us, you will get through to a service who will directly contact the technician. So typically within an hour of your call, we will have a live person, one of our employees, on the phone with you to discuss what needs you may have after hours to make sure that we keep you comfortable, whether it's during the heating season or the cooling season. We typically have a backlog of service. So it's always good to get on a list and make a plan to think about these things as far as the maintenance. It also gives us more flexibility. If you do have issues or aging systems, that when we come out, make a plan to see what we can replace, or does the system itself need to be gone through a little bit more thoroughly, and maybe we need to make a plan for a replacement of the entire system. As far as the technology end of things is, mainly gains to try and get efficiency. Consumers want to have the most bang for their buck, so to speak. Increasing fuel prices, electrical prices, it's very important to have ultimate efficiency. When we talk about combustion efficiency of heating equipment, we have been burning oil and propane efficiently for years. So the change comes on the controlling end, and it comes on the what do we do with that heat once we produce it. And that's through use of different heat exchangers and smaller units. A lot of people comment on how they get a new boiler and it's 3/4 smaller than what we took out. So what we're doing is gaining those efficiencies on the controlling end. A lot of changes in the safety controls, things like that, to make things safer, more efficient. And then most recently, I think the biggest change has been the consumer interface, where you can see what's happening on a lot of your appliances right on your phone. Not only for the heating, but also, I mean, you can do everything now. Your lighting, you're coming home and your lights turn on as you're driving in the dooryard. It's happening with the heating systems and the cooling systems as well. So we pride ourselves on looking at it as a case-by-case basis. There's not one answer for every customer out there. Even on the technical end for our technicians, some of the diagnostic tools, some of that stuff is coming through right on their phones. So when we go into a house, we can use diagnostic tools on some of the system controllers to see what happened. Then, of course, following through with contacting manufacturers, reps, and things like that. Again, very quickly, emailing from the basement, texting. So the technology is really probably one of the biggest changes. One of the things that we pride ourselves on and have a heavy focus on is being part of the local community. So I am 4th generation owner of HR Clough, a company started by my great-grandfather over 80 years ago. And we have been in this same location for those 80 years. One of the other things is when you call into us for service, whether it's during the day or after hours, we are going to get you connected with somebody who is local to the area and who's going to be able to respond in a short amount of time. Comparatively speaking, in our industry, we've seen a lot of larger companies, some of them even from out of the country, buying up fuel companies. We pride ourselves in being local, being there when you need us, and being right down the street. Certainly during the work week, if there's anything that you need, you can visit our office and stop by, or we can come out, set up a time, meet with you and discuss what you may need. But we are a local company and plan to stay that way for many years to come.
Thank you, Blaine, and all the good folks at HR Clough. When we return, Amy Drummon and North Cape Design Build and Tanya Frost and the Boys and Girls Club will give us a wrap-up on this year's Duck Drop. Stay with us.
Warner's Main Street Bookends has been your community bookstore since 1998 and voted Yankee Magazine's Editor's Pick Must-See Bookstore. Bookends is a full-service store offering a huge selection of current fiction and nonfiction with children's book selection, toys, and games. Bookends has a huge card selection for all occasions, along with Main Street Marketplace and Gallery in the attached barn. 100% solar, Main Street Bookends of Warner is building your community one book at a time.
Simple solutions in a challenging world. Let Echo Communications make your life simpler. From the beginning, creating design through the commercial print process and ending with custom mailing, all easily coordinated in one place. Echo Communications provides simple solutions in a challenging world. One place, many solutions. Learn more at echocominc.com.
There's a big difference between a big box store and a LaValle Middleton building supply.
When you're a local store, you need to compete with the bigger chains. So we've combined our purchasing power with over 300 independent lumberyard and home centers, and we've passed those savings on to you.
Our customers have grown up with our stores, and now their kids are shopping here with our kids.
We have everything you need for any home improvement project you can think of.
And the possibilities are endless.
If we had a motto, it would be neighbors helping neighbors build a community.
Welcome back to Yankee Chronicle. I'm your host, Elizabeth Durazio. Every year, local businesses come together to raise funds for the Boys and Girls Club and other local organizations via the Duck Drop at Mount Sunapee. How did this year's go? Well, ladies, tell us.
We raised an incredible $442,000 for a 5-year total, and we could not be happier. It just has been an amazing year, so successful. We had over 45 local organizations sponsor our event at multiple different levels. I'd like to give a special thank you to our Eagle sponsor, Crown Point Cabinetry. We couldn't do it without them, and they've been incredible to us in the past 5 years and really stepping up this past year with that wonderful donation. In addition, we've had over 20 targets at the event. Those are sponsors who give $1,000 or more to the event. And in addition to their sponsorship, they have also donated prize packages for you all to enjoy as you rode the lift. So thank you so much to each and every one of our wonderful sponsors this year. And we were also so proud we sold out of ducks with 2 hours left to go in the event. So we're hoping next year we will have enough ducks to get us through the whole entire event, and we're looking forward to that. So thank you again to everybody who helped out with the event, all the volunteers, sponsors, participants. We couldn't do it without any of you. And if you don't know, our main beneficiary of this wonderful event is the Boys and Girls Club of Central New Hampshire. And I'm here with Tanya Frost, the marketing manager. And Tanya, can you please tell everybody how you guys use the funds?
Thanks, Amy. We're so honored to be part of this event and the main beneficiary. And with the 5-year total that these guys have put together and come up with and created for us and raised, we've been able to scholarship over 750 kids for their summer camp program throughout all of Central New Hampshire. So, especially on behalf of our Warner and Sutton and New London sites, and we just want to thank, Brett, Amy, and your team with North Cape Design, Crown Point Cabinetry, and Mount Sunapee for having and hosting this amazing, unique event.
Thank you, Tanya. We are so looking forward to next year already, and the planning has already begun. So stay tuned for more information on the exact date. But we'll be back again for the 6th year at Mount Sunapee Resort, tossing ducks for the Boys and Girls Club of Central New Hampshire. Thank you.
Thanks, Amy and Tanya, and all the businesses and folks that made this year such a great event for everyone. Did you happen to know that many lung cancer cases are people that have never even smoked? When we return, we'll hear about Lung Cancer Awareness Month from survivor Gail Matthews. Now these words from the good folks that make this show, Yankee Chronicle, possible for you.
At HR Clough and Kearsarge Heating, we sell, install, tune, and repair heating and cooling systems and deliver your fuel oil and propane. But we're much more. HR Clough installs water conditioning systems to purify your water and add life to your hot water heating system. Now is the perfect time for one of our expert staff to evaluate your needs. For a free estimate, call HR Clough today. Over 4 generations of local ownership and dependable service.
Warner's Main Street Bookends has been your community bookstore since 1998 and voted Yankee Magazine's Editor's Pick Must-See Bookstore. Bookends is a full-service store offering a huge selection of current fiction and nonfiction with children's book selection, toys, and games. Bookends has a huge card selection for all occasions, along with Main Street Marketplace and Gallery in the attached barn. 100% solar, Main Street Bookends of Warner is building your community one book at a time.
There's a big difference between a big box store and a LaValle Middleton building supply.
When you're a local store, you need to compete with the bigger chains. So we've combined our purchasing power with over 300 independent lumberyard and home centers, and we've passed those savings on to you.
Our customers have grown up with our stores, and now their kids are shopping here with our kids.
We have everything you need for any home improvement project you can think of.
And the possibilities are endless.
If we had a motto, it would be neighbors helping neighbors build a community.
Welcome back to Yankee Chronicle. I'm your host, Elizabeth Durazio. There are many in our area that suffer from lung cancer and never smoked a single cigarette. Let's hear from one. Gail?
It was in 2000, and my husband, who had been part of the Framingham Heart Study years and years before, heard about an electronic beam tomography, an EBT scan, where you stayed in your clothes and you just went through it at Cooper Clinic in Dallas, and he wanted to go have it done, and it was not covered by insurance. It was $500, and he wanted me to sign up too, and I said, no, insurance isn't paying for this. No, there's no way. I never smoked. I'm fine, you know, never smoked. And he did his own thing. He signed me up. Actually, he saved my life. We went in for the exam, came out, and my husband, who had smoked in the early part of his life in college and first years, had a clean bill of health. And the radiologist called me in and said, Mrs. Matthews, you'd better get back to Boston and see a doctor right away. There's a spot on your lung. I said, there can't be. I never smoked. I'm this clean living. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do anything. I'm a goody two-shoes. That's just what I said to him. And he said, well, you get back. So I went to Leahy because we were in Boston at that point, and the doctor did an endoscopy on my throat here, and then he did some other tests, and they said, we don't know what it is. It could be cocci, which I had horses, so cocci is something that is caused from hay. Well, it wasn't that. And Dr. Bemis said, go see Dr. Williamson. She is phenomenal. You will love her. So I went to see Dr. Williamson, and she said, I really want you to get 2 other opinions. And this is like emotional for me because I'm going back in time. And I went to Dr. Mathieson at Mass General, and he is a wonderful doctor. And then Dr. Sugarbaker at Brigham and Women's, who is like the guru in all of lung cancer across the world, or lung work. I didn't know it was cancer at that point, but Dr. Mathieson said that I had to have it done right away. And I said, I can't go away for the winter and then come back and have it done in the spring? He said, no, because the kind of cancer you have is bronchial alveolar carcinoma, and it just explodes. So you have to have it out right away while it's small. So I got back in the car and called. I don't know how I did this because we didn't have cell phones at that time, but I can remember in the car calling Dr. Williamson and saying, okay, do the exploratory in December. And this was November. And I had chosen her because her hands were small, and I knew she had to go in my back and break my ribs. And Dr. Mathieson, though I loved him, had great big hands, and I couldn't see that in my back. And Dr. Sugarbaker was short, and I loved him too, but I couldn't see how he could take this big woman and make her better. So Dr. Williamson was my doctor. And one of the things I remember so much about the operation, because at that point we didn't know it was lung cancer, and we prayed. And I prayed for her hands to be able to guide me, to guide and take care of me. And she was from Denmark. And after the operation, my sons and my husband were in the recovery room and bent over and said, it's lung cancer. It was behind a pneumonia scar. That's why other tests didn't show it. And they removed it, and they removed my lower lobe on the right side. And at that time, there was a cancer board in Boston where they would take the tumor and decide whether there's radiation or chemotherapy going to be had afterwards to make sure all the cells are gone. They voted that no, they had gotten mine, and that was it. So I really had the recovery, not from the lung as much as from the broken ribs in the back. And I have 2 angel cuts on my back where they went in and broke the ribs. That's the hard part. I was in the hospital for 17 days, and it was at Christmas time. And my wonderful husband took my dogs and went down and stayed in a hotel room right near a motel room right near the hospital so that the dogs could be taken care of, because I'm an animal lover, as anybody knows who knows me, and would come and see me every day. And flowers were sent to me, and this is something else I remember, and it banked a whole wall because it was Christmas and people wanted to show how much they cared. And at one point, the doctor said, you can't have any visitors anymore, and you can't have the flowers in your room because flowers might be sprayed with something that will go in your lung. And the other memory I have, because I want to always turn lemons into lemonade, we would have to go every day down to the x-ray, and a nurse would be pulling me or pushing me, and be a technician or somebody, and we would sing Christmas carols at the top of my lungs, so that when the doctors came in to take my oxygen level, they always found that it was 98 or 99, and it was from stretching my lungs and getting good oxygen, and that's very important if anybody's going through any kind of lung surgery. So I recovered from that, and in January we went south and rode my bike and did all the things that I love to do down there, and came back and thought everything was fine until, and there are no symptoms, absolutely no symptoms, for me anyway. No coughing, no shortness of breath. You know, I was still doing everything that I normally do, which is very active. And in 2003, it was on the left side.
Thank you, Gail, for your efforts to make the vagaries of this disease known to spread awareness. When we return, Fred Nystrom from our host location, the Contoocook Railway Museum, will join me. But first, let's introduce you to the supporters of Yankee Chronicle.
Simple solutions in a challenging world. Let Echo Communications make your life simpler. From the beginning, creating design through the commercial print process and ending with custom mailing, all easily coordinated in one place. Echo Communications provides simple solutions in a challenging world. One place, many solutions. Learn more at echocominc.com.
Warner's Main Street Bookends has been your community bookstore since 1998 and voted Yankee Magazine's Editor's Pick Must-See Bookstore. Bookends is a full-service store offering a huge selection of current fiction and nonfiction with children's book selection, toys, and games. Bookends has a huge card selection for all occasions, along with Main Street Marketplace and Gallery in the attached barn. 100% solar, Main Street Bookends of Warner is building your community one book at a time.
At HR Clough and Kearsarge Heating, we sell, install, tune, and repair heating and cooling systems and deliver your fuel oil and propane. But we're much more. With more frequent major weather events, don't say again, I should have installed a generator. HR Clough provides the best home generator systems available from Generac. Our highly trained personnel provide you a complete turnkey installation. For a free estimate, call the HR Clough Company today. Over 4 generations of local ownership and dependable service.
Welcome, I'm Elizabeth Durazio, coming to you from the Contoocook Railway Museum, right here in the heart of historic Contoocook in the town of Hopkinton. Today we're having a very special event as we bring to you the efforts to preserve this historic railway car. I'm joined by Fred Nystrom. He's the Director of Restoration and Preservation here, and he's going to tell us how we can be part of keeping this piece of history alive. Thank you for joining us, Fred.
Thanks, Liz. Well, this railroad car that sits behind us is a passenger car that was built in 1907 for the Boston and Maine Railroad. And it was one of an order of 30 that they built to add to their fleet of commuter cars.
Okay.
It really is, it was used in commuter service. It wasn't intended for long distance service on, let's say, major express trains like the Alouette or the East Wind. Those were special trains. They used different cars. This car did not have all the amenities for sleeping and long distance travel. But it was a lovely car to begin with, even as it was. And they were, this whole fleet of cars was used in that service on the lines that radiate to the north and to the west of Boston and out of cities like Fitchburg, Concord, New Hampshire, and communities of that size. And they were used until about 1955. And once their service life was ended, most of them were scrapped, but a few were retained, and luckily this one was one of that latter group. It ended up at the large railroad museum in Bellows Falls, Vermont. And it was there until about 1995 when a nice gentleman from New Boston purchased it and had it shipped to his home in New Boston. And he spent about 10 years restoring it. In 2007, when it was exactly 100 years old, because it was built in 1907, he donated it to this museum and it was shipped up here by truck. And it's been there ever since. So it's been here for 14 years. And we've done our best to preserve it and keep it in good shape. You know, we're a small, tiny museum and we're very underfunded. So we've done the best we can, and so that's mostly the history of it. I could go on and on about it, but I know you only have a limited time.
I really would like people to understand what this really added to the museum. Over the years, you've worked very hard to actually preserve the depot itself, which is behind me, and that went from being sort of a dilapidated building that I remember driving by as a child to a fully restored historical enactment. So you can walk through and it's like you just arrived and stepped off the railway. Then we have the gorgeous historic bridge right here, and then also this year you acquired another building. Tell us briefly about the building.
3 years ago we acquired what's called a section house. It was in its original location behind the phone company on the other side of the river. And 3 years ago, the TDS generously donated it to our organization, and we brought it across the bridge and set it into its current location, and we restored it and painted it to look nice like the depot. That's our workshop now. We're not using it as a railroad section house. But now we have the infrastructure, and much more so, to be able to preserve things and do projects and keep things up. Whereas before we had nothing. The only shop area we had was to use the interior of this railroad car to hold woodworking tools and metalworking tools. Is really not appropriate.
The amazing thing is this really has become a hub of the town, from the farmers market to the holiday events, things like that really happen here. And this really made the history of the railway in Contoocook and Hopkinton come alive. It's so vitally important that we don't let this rot. And the hard part is it really does need to be protected. Tell us what needs to be done to preserve this car.
Well, because it's a wooden railroad car, it requires quite a bit of maintenance, more so than a steel car. And generally they're kept inside, or they're, when the restoration is undergone, it's done indoors in a big barn, a roundhouse, or a big railroad building. That's where you have to do it, so you can strip all the exterior wood off and work on the frame, and you can't do that outdoors. So one of the things we intend to do long term, or I should maybe say medium term, over the next 5 years, we plan to do enough fundraising to put up a large pavilion over it, which will be an open-sided structure with a big roof. They would keep the snow and the rain off it and protect it from the freeze-thaw cycle during these harsh New England winters.
And I've seen some of the concept for this, and the idea is really to keep that structure in keeping with the look of a historic railway and really preserving the museum function of this. So where can we go to contribute or to find out how we can help keep this car alive?
Well, our website is Contoocookdepot.org, and we also have a Facebook page under the same name. And there are areas there that you can click and make a donation. We also have a number of items that you can buy, where a portion of that would go to support the museum.
And thank you, Fred, and thank you, Steve, for hosting us here at the Contoocook Railway Depot. What an informative few weeks we've had here on location at the Contoocook Railway Museum. If you have not yet visited, please do so. And don't miss our live football game of the week at ycnnow.com with replays at WYCX on Sundays and Mondays at noon and 5 p.m. Friday night at 6:52 p.m., YCN will be live from Hartford as their Hurricanes host a Vermont Division I semifinal football game. I'm Elizabeth Durazio. Join us next week in the same time with a new edition of Yankee Chronicle. Till then, stay safe, everyone.